try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekly morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about how former and potential soon-to-be future President Donald Trump has just caused a major rally on Bitcoin. If you didn't already know, Donald Trump has come out staunchly in favor of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies over the last 4 to 5 months or so. And in that time, he has quickly become one of the most important voices in the cryptocurrency space, being one of the most powerful individuals on the entire planet, being a former president, and again, the Republican nominee. It stands to reason that him stepping into the cryptocurrency space would be major. Today, we're going to be talking about his new platform, and we're also going to be talking about how Donald Trump's investment in the cryptocurrency space, not only from a financial standpoint, but also from an influence and political standpoint, is going to shape the future of Bitcoin, and most importantly, to the topic of our stream here, how it is shaping the markets right now. As you can see on your screen, Bitcoin has been going through a pretty sizable rally over the last 12 hours or so since this news was announced, and I do believe that the last week of news and shifting fundamentals have given Bitcoin a great opportunity to move into a major uptrend here very, very soon. Today, we're going to be talking about whether or not this news out of Donald Trump and other pieces of news that are circulating in the cryptocurrency ecosystem right now are going to help Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space to go into their next major rally. With every day that passes, I become more and more confident that there is a great chance that that's going to happen. Let's read some chat. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. It's gonna be a good one. We've got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and read some names. Manuel is here, or Manuel, I'm not sure which one. Manuel is here in chat. Crypto Carter's in chat. Crypto Surge is in chat. Pamela Renard's in chat. Paul Torelli, Emily, Baby Bull Crypto. Kevin Hawthorne said good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Crypto Surge said smash the like and subscribe and repost on X. Absolutely, repost on X, guys. Our X account is absolutely exploding, so make sure to go ahead and follow me over here. We've been doing a lot of updates about the political situation, about the markets, and about the running that I'm doing, and so make sure you go and check that out. But also, let's not forget to take a look at Bitcoin, which even as we are speaking right now is trading at $60,000. That's right. For, I don't know, what, the 17th time in the last 5 months, we have broken $60,000. It's something that we should be excited about, but again, it's something that happens quite a bit. If we look on the daily chart here, you can see $60,000 is a level that gets broken quite often. That being said, 60K, and more specifically, the local level of resistance that we've just set here, up around 60,500, is a very important level. And the reason for that is because it has been a level that Bitcoin has rejected off of and found support on and broken through many times. So we're going to look at coin market cap, and then we're going to kind of dive into the news, and then we're going to look at the charts. So stay tuned, because we're going to take a holistic viewpoint on this. I've been doing technical analysis for over 7 years now, and what I have found in my experience is that we need to make sure that we're able to pull from every area that's impacting the market. There's a lot of things going on this week that we're going to be covering. To name a few, we've got this launch from Donald Trump. We've got a big rally going on Bitcoin. We are having an effective federal funds rate decision coming up in just a couple of days. And we also have major resistance that Bitcoin is just below, that this bullish news could actually lead Bitcoin to breaking through. So let's take a top-down perspective. We're going to look at the market as a whole, and then we're going to run through issue by issue, paint them together into a cohesive narrative so that we have an idea of where Bitcoin is going next, not based on feelings, but based on facts. Bitcoin currently trades at 59,000. Wow, look at that. What kind of scam comes up in the middle of my stream? That's ridiculous. All right, what we were looking at here was Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin is currently trading at $59,985. What in the world is going on? That's very strange. CoinMarketCap has some kind of scam going on. Let me see if I can fix that. You know, when you do a stream every single day, it is hilarious, the kinds of things that will come up. Anyway, what we were talking about is that Bitcoin is currently trading at $60,000 $215. I think CoinMarketCap may have gotten hacked, guys. Be careful. Bitcoin is currently trading at $60,250, and many of the other cryptocurrencies are up as well. You can see Ethereum, for example, here has gone through a pretty sizable rally over the last couple of hours, largely as a result of this announcement from Donald Trump, most likely. And we've seen the same thing happening on other projects like Solana, which have been largely trading sideways and just kind of disappointing over the last several weeks. We have seen a small rally on them, which is exciting. And one of the things that I also want to talk about is the total market capitalization. If we go over to total market cap, you can see that we're actually hovering above the $2 trillion mark. Total market capitalization is exceptionally important because total market capitalization gives us the size of the market. And just some perspective here. Let me pull up some data here, just to give you a perspective of what $2 trillion is, because that sounds like a lot. The size of the market of real estate, for example, is somewhere around $300 trillion. The size of the equities market in the United States is around $35 trillion. The size of the global equities market is approaching $150 trillion. And so when you look at $2 trillion, you think to yourself, goodness gracious, that's a lot of money. But it's actually a drop in the bucket. $2 trillion isn't much, but it is still up here towards all-time high. We actually have not even hit an all-time high total market capitalization on the cryptocurrency space yet, which makes it blatantly obvious to me that we are at some point going to see another enormous rally. I think I speak for just about everybody here when I say that it's obvious. It's obvious that Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space is far more developed, far more institutionalized, far more adopted today than it was in 2021 and then it was in 2022. And so of all the points we're going to make today, here is my first. We've got a lot of them, so stay tuned, but this is the first. The first point we're going to make today is that Bitcoin is still only 2/3 of the way back to all-time high on market capitalization, indicating that in maybe not the short term, but probably, but almost certainly in the medium to the longer term, we are going to at least increase total market capitalization by over 50% to return to all-time high in this bull market. And most likely, we will go much higher than that, probably up towards $5 trillion, if not even farther. So that's the first point we want to make. Bitcoin is very much undervalued here. Let's run through a couple of other technical factors that are influencing the market so we can kind of lay that groundwork, lay that foundation, and then we'll bring all this into a cohesive narrative. I want to give you a bunch of data that I will then reference back to later on in the stream to paint a picture for you of where we are and where we're going. Next thing to look at here is the dollar currency index, and it is dropping, which is good. Bitcoin is inversely correlated to the dollar currency index. Whenever the dollar currency index goes down, Bitcoin traditionally is going up. And so with Dixie dropping down to 100, this is very good for Bitcoin. Why? The dollar currency index measures the strength of the United States dollar against a basket of other world currencies. And so against a basket of other national currencies. And so when the dollar currency index is dropping, it typically signals that the United States dollar is underperforming underperforming international currencies. And the reason that that is important for Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is not really correlated or inversely correlated to any other national currency, pretty much only the dollar, because it aims to compete directly with the dollar. You see, there's a very big difference between the United States dollar and other international currencies. The United States dollar is one of the only currencies that has complete and total sovereignty. It is built with debt that the government furnishes to itself or furnishes from its own citizenry to raise, which causes inflation and which raises the national debt and so forth and so on. And what you see out of most other nations is they don't have really the ability to do that. What they do instead is they borrow from other countries, like the United States. El Salvador is a good example of this. They are on track to becoming financially independent, where they do not have to borrow money from any other nations, as most countries do. And so the United States dollar is record skip. The United States dollar is fundamentally different from most other currencies in the world, which is why Bitcoin is predominantly competing with it. With the Dixie moving to the downside here, this is very bullish news for Bitcoin. Now, I also want to look here at a third point, which would be the S&P 500. If you didn't notice already, S&P 500 is in all-time breakout right now. Big deal. This is a very, very, very important milestone for the United States stock market, but also for Bitcoin. We hit an all-time high here in July. That was a few months ago. We double topped And right now, we may be setting a triple top, but what's most important here is that Bitcoin is going through a major the United States stock market is going through a major rally. It's breaking all-time high. This is important because the United States stock market is correlated positively with Bitcoin. When stocks are going up, Bitcoin is going up. You can see how everything here is coming together into a bullish background for Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about the actual news on the table today. Trump says crypto is fledgling, yet massive business in project launch. Now, this may be, funnily enough, one of the most polarizing election cycles that we have ever seen. That happens every 4 years. It gets more and more polarizing. Do I like the polarization? No. Do I like one nation under God standing divided based on rhetoric and hatred and injustice for all? No, I don't. That is not my dream for our nation. Is that the case? Yes. Is that sad? Yes. Are you going to hear me endorsing a candidate? Probably not. Are you going to hear me saying that some policies are absolutely stupid or they're very good ideas? Yes. Am I going to come at this from the standpoint of I'm a Christian first before I'm a voter of anything? I will try. Let's read this, and let's try and look at this from a factual standpoint. Let's try and look at this from not a rhetoric standpoint, not from a hatred standpoint, but from a standpoint of whether or not this is actually good for the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space. Former President Trump and his sons unveiled new details about their new cryptocurrency platform, World Liberty Financial, on Monday night, marking the former president's latest embrace of digital currencies after years of skepticism. You can see this post came out on the Hill at about 10:16 p.m. last night. That's roughly 12 hours ago. And so when we are looking at the Bitcoin chart, that shows up right about here. I like to show this because I want to prove to you that news that we discuss actually has an impact on the market. What's one of the things that is very important to me? What's one of the things that's very important to any analyst that is worth their salt? Data, facts, evidence. This is not an area where we get to say, I just think whatever I want to think. No. This is important. People's money is riding on this. So let us do our very best to back up everything that we believe with facts and evidence. What we see here is that right before this announcement was made, Bitcoin was in a downtrend. Was it a major downtrend that Bitcoin was probably going to just fall through the floor? Probably not. We probably would have been okay. But this announcement, we knew it was coming, but we didn't know exactly when. When we had this announcement, Bitcoin went into a major rally. This would be very difficult to attribute to anything else other than this news, which is why we're discussing it today, because it is blatantly obvious, glaringly obvious that this is a very big story in Bitcoin as of late. We've seen a few of those. We saw one of those happen over here back in the second week of September when we saw the British government, a bill going through Parliament to recognize cryptocurrency as property, which would be a big step forward for British citizens that own Bitcoin and cryptocurrency because it currently sits in a bit of a gray area. We've seen the same thing happen many times where news breaks and the price moves almost instantly. It's very easy to correlate. And so what we're seeing here is the same thing going on. This news has obviously moved the market based on the timing. So let's read into it and see what it is, and we will add this to our list of facts and figures and evidence that we will use to craft a narrative about where Bitcoin is and where Bitcoin's going. Again, that's why you tuned into this stream today. You want to know where Bitcoin is, where Bitcoin's going, and then towards the end of the stream, what we will do is we will make sure to give you some teaching on how to take advantage of that movement from a trader's perspective and from an investor's perspective. That's how we run this stream. That's kind of our formula if you haven't picked up on that yet. The conversation featured crypto investor Farouk Sarmad, who interviewed Trump, his sons Eric and Donald Trump Jr., and other business allies on the new business and the broader cryptocurrency industry at the former president's Palm Beach resort, Mar-a-Lago. He said, if we don't do it, China's going to do it. Trump said of crypto development in the United States. China's going to do it anyway, but if we don't do it, we're not going to be the biggest, and we have to be the biggest and the best. He's got the bestest words is Trump's thing, right? We want to have a great country. We want to stay at the top. We're making things now. We started, and it started under my administration, that there was no chance of ever getting involved in it for a long time. We're leading the pack in so many ways, Trump said. Trump added, touting his administration's creation of the Space Force. Describing crypto as a fledgling business, Trump said that it is also a massive business and has a chance to become something really special. Trump did not offer many specific details about the project and did not address crypto until 16 minutes into Monday night's conversation when he discussed his three sons, Eric, Barron, and Donald Trump Jr., and their experience in the industry. Barron knows so much about this, Trump said of his 18-year-old son. He talks about his wallet. He's got 4 wallets or something, but he knows this stuff. Trump said he was not initially overly interested in crypto until his trademark non-fungible tokens were paid with crypto. His children, though, opened my eyes more than anything else, he said. Trump first teased the crypto project last month in a post on his social media platform Truth Social. At the time, he linked to a Telegram channel called The Defiant Ones, which has been since renamed to World Liberty Financial. Little details were released at the time, though a copy of the project's white paper obtained by crypto news site CoinDesk would offer borrowing and lending services using its own crypto token. The founders include Trump, his 3 sons, and businessman Steve Witkoff and his sons Zach Witkoff, CNBC reported, citing a person briefed by a member of the group's founding team. Despite this, the platform itself is not owned, managed, operated, or sold by members of the Trump family, Bloomberg reported, citing a copy of the white paper. The move marks a stark shift for former president, who said in 2019 that he was not a fan of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, calling them not money. After once dismissing crypto as a scam, Trump is now vowing to make the United States the crypto capital of the planet if reelected in November. He made the pledge during a Bitcoin conference in July when he announced a series of cryptocurrency proposals. So, here's the point. We can go into all the details of each individual article. I don't see the point in that. Here's the point. There's mainly 2. First point, Donald Trump, as I've stated, like him, hate him, don't really care what your opinion is on him, is one of the most powerful political influential figures in the world right now. In fact, if he becomes elected president, he will be the most powerful man on planet Earth. And so with him being behind Bitcoin, it speaks to the fact that Bitcoin has risen to the top of adoption. It is now mainstream. Bitcoin is now a mainstream concept. That's the first point. Trump has kind of defined that as being the case. Point number 2. Say what you will about who's doing what, about who follows who in politics. Something that I think we can all agree on is that there are powers at play behind the scenes that are trying to move chess pieces on the chessboard that we don't see. And there are people that influence the Democrats. There are people that influence the Republicans. There are people that influence the independents and the libertarians. Every side of the conversation has now become pro-crypto. It has become, for the most part, a bipartisan issue. BlackRock, plenty of conspiracy theories about BlackRock, is pro-cryptocurrency. Donald Trump, anti-establishment, is pro-cryptocurrency. Kamala Harris, not really done much good for crypto, but even she has realized that she's got to get on board and create some kind of bullish or good kind of cryptocurrency policy for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency has become such a large issue that the cryptocurrency voter has become a voting bloc. And so that's kind of the second point, is that from that standpoint, not just from Trump, but also from the standpoint that everybody is on board with crypto, it has now begun, not ended, but begun the drive towards mass adoption. And that's the real story here. The real story is not about, World Liberty Financial. There's a bunch of different projects. Will this project succeed? Maybe. I don't know. We don't have many details about it right now. But the reason that the market rallied here was because on news like this, we get more and more and more confirmation that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are mainstream, that they are here permanently, that they are not going to vanish into the night. And finally, that cryptocurrency is now a bedrock foundational component of our culture. And the reason for that, just getting off topic just a little bit, but just so that you know why, the reason that Bitcoin is foundational and bedrock to our culture is because inflation is a part of our culture. Here's the thing. The reason that there is inflation is because of debt. The reason that there is inflation is because of the deficit that the government runs. Jebb, what are you talking about? Well, here's the reason that that happens. The way that inflation happens is that the government has to print money. Why does it have to print money? Well, there's 2 reasons. There's the reason the government tells you, and then there's the reason that is the actual reason. The reason the government tells you is because with the expansion of the economy, you have to print some money to expand the base of capital so that you don't actually fall into disinflation. And to some degree, that is true. You do have to replace greenbacks that get shredded. You do have to replace money that gets lost. You do have to do some printing to maintain the currency supply. And to some degree, you do have to expand the currency supply. That being said, it doesn't take anywhere near as much printing. It doesn't take anywhere near as much purchasing of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities from the Fed to drive that kind of maintenance inflation, if you will. It's not even inflation, but that kind of maintenance creation of money. We are doing far more than that. And that's where we're seeing the inflation coming from. The United States government is running a multi-trillion-dollar-a-year deficit. If we go to U.S. Debt Clock, this is a website I've been following for over 12 years in horror. The United States national debt now approaches $35 trillion. The United States federal budget deficit is over $2 trillion. We are running a deficit of over $2 trillion per year. And when you look at the debt payments, let's see. When you look at the federal spending by different item, what you're going to find, I believe it's right here. Let's see if this will load. Yeah, it's right here. When you look at the categories of U.S. government spending, what we see is that one of the largest brackets of our expenditure is the interest payment. In fact, if you switch this to dollars, Social Security makes up $1.31 trillion of government spending, which is approximately 21% of government spending. Medicare is at $850 billion, so those kind of programs make up over $2 trillion. Net interest makes up $843 billion of interest. That is a larger amount of the budget than the national defense. By the way, I don't know if you realize this, but we have the first and second largest air forces, because the largest air force on the planet is the United States Air Force. The second largest air force is the United States Navy. We have more carriers and more super carriers than every other country on planet Earth combined. We have by far and away the largest national defense expenditure of any nation by almost an order of magnitude to the second largest, which would be China. The net interest for the debt, servicing the debt, is still larger than that. And so when you have that much interest, then that means that you have to raise taxes because you have to be able to pay the net interest. But here's the thing, taxes aren't high enough, or whether we should say, I suppose, that government expenditure is too high to close the deficit. So you have to keep borrowing money to pay the interest on the money. That's like you don't have enough money to pay the bill on your credit card. So what you end up doing is you take out another credit card and you use the one credit card to pay for the other credit card. That's what the United States is doing. The reason that this creates inflation, and therefore the reason that this makes Bitcoin necessary, is that when you raise the national debt, a large part of the way that you raise the national debt is through the purchasing of MBS and treasuries. And so if we look at the U.S. balance sheet, the U.S. Fed balance sheet, I think it is. Let's see if I can find it. I think it's the balance sheet. It's been a minute since I've looked at this. Balance sheet, Fed balance sheet. Okay, I'll have to find it. But if we look at the Fed, I don't know why, I haven't looked at it in a minute. Fed balance sheet ticker on trading view. When you look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, USC CBS, that's it. Here we go. Give me 1 second. USC BBS, United States Central Bank balance sheet. You can, USC BBS, United States Central Bank balance sheet. When you look at the United States Central Bank balance sheet, this is the amount of assets that the United States Central Bank, which is the Fed, holds. They currently hold about $7.1 trillion of assets. They held up to $9 trillion of assets. These are predominantly, about 98% of these assets are what are known as mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. So the way that the United States raises money to fund this national debt is through the offering of treasuries. The government literally puts out something called a T-bill, and people buy it and they pay interest on it. That's where the interest payments are going. A lot of it is going to the United States people, which is good. A lot of the money is staying in the United States. That's wonderful. But it leads to the necessity for the United States to raise the national debt. And when the treasuries are not enough to fund the national deficit, then what the United States Federal Reserve has to do is it has to go purchase treasuries, and it has to go purchase mortgage-backed securities. And so essentially what they do is they create this money on this chart right here out of thin air. This is not real money. This is money that the Federal Reserve created. They basically went and bought mortgage-backed securities. What's that? Well, if you have a mortgage, what your bank does is it sells it to a mortgage broker. Or sorry, not a mortgage broker. It sells it to another company. And it packages all your mortgages up into a loan product called a mortgage-backed security, and you can purchase them and trade them like stocks and equities. And so the United States Central Bank, which is the Fed, goes and buys those mortgage-backed securities with fake money. They literally just type in, okay, we're going to buy $100 billion. We're going to buy, a lot of times it's $90 billion a month when they're actually purchasing $90 billion a month of mortgage-backed securities. And they do that with money that is not real. And so you end up inflating that market. And when you inflate the mortgage market, then you actually inflate the housing market, and you see where the inflation starts coming from. When there is overspending, then what ends up happening is the government has to get money from somewhere to furnish the deficit. And they do that through inflationary activity, which is why Bitcoin is necessary, which is why, to my point, no, this took a while, but this is why, to my point, that when you have Bitcoin going through a rally like this, let's round all this up into this kind of subpoint. When we have Bitcoin coming into a rally like this, why? Well, because people realize, wait a second, BlackRock, they're pro-Bitcoin. Kamala Harris, like it or not, she's kind of got to be. Biden, like it or not, he's kind of got to be. Trump is pro-Bitcoin. Everybody's pro-Bitcoin now. Why? Because everybody across the aisle, whether they want to do anything about it or not, knows that this is a problem. And they know that this is driving inflation. And so what we have to do is we have to find an alternative. And Bitcoin is that alternative that is non-inflationary. It is literally programmed to increase in value. Why? Because of a Ponzi scheme? No, it's programmed to increase in value because it has a fixed supply. So when you see adoption going on like this, it just reconfirms, like this, it just reconfirms what we already knew, that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is here to stay. And more importantly, here's the nugget. More importantly, we also have a large amount of people that are, high up in politics that realize the power of crypto, and they want to do things to bring the adoption on board. Now, is that the only reason Bitcoin's pumping? Obviously not. There's a very big piece of news that we have not really talked about yet that we've got to talk about. And that would be the overwhelming likelihood that tomorrow, on Wednesday, we are going to see a rate cut from the Fed. Why is this important? Well, you see, the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates high because they're trying to combat the inflation which the Federal Reserve themselves caused and the Treasury caused by supporting the United States Congress and running a massive deficit. The Federal Reserve keeps interest rates high to combat inflation that they caused. Right? It's a little bit like somebody shot you and then they want to play nurse. Oh, I'll bandage you right on up. Oh, I'll stitch you up. Yeah, wait a minute. Didn't you shoot me? Yeah, no. Well, shut up. Yeah, I'll bandage you. I'll patch you up. Yeah, okay. That's what the Fed does. The Fed doesn't really care about stopping the bleeding anymore because they realize that they want basically more money. And so what we're seeing tomorrow is a rate cut. We almost certainly have a rate cut coming. Almost certainly. It would be very surprising if we didn't have a rate cut coming. This is significant. Extremely significant. The reason that this is significant is because when you have rates going down, it brings down the cost of capital. What is that? That's the amount of money it costs to get money. It brings down how expensive money is. Money literally has a price on it when you borrow it. You have to pay to borrow it. It's not free. There's interest. And so this rate is the base rate that all banks base their interest rates off of. The mortgage rates track very closely with the effective federal funds rate. And the reason is because the banks, the national banks, the commercial banks, not the national banks, sorry, the commercial banks, they borrow money from the Fed in something called an overnight banking, overnight banking. And so this is the rate at which the Fed actually loans money out. That's right. The Fed loans money to the banks that they don't have. They loan money that they don't and we wonder how government spending drives inflation. Well, duh. They're the ones actually printing the money. Why are they printing the money? To keep up with the massive deficit. You see how this all ties together now. Well, the Fed doesn't really care anymore. They're not even trying to fight it because they see that inflation has come down. They think that's going to continue. It's probably not. But they want to make sure that everything looks peachy keen. They don't like it being this high. They want to bring it down because it looks better. And so we've got a 25 to a 50 basis point correction, 25 to 50 basis point drop coming tomorrow. Elizabeth Warren actually sent a letter to Jerome Powell demanding that it be a 75 basis point rate cut, but I don't think she's going to get her way on that. CME Group, which is normally correct on this, gives it a 61% likelihood that we're going to see a 50 basis point drop tomorrow, which would likely be the beginning of quite a few more drops. If we do see one drop of 50 basis points, it's probably going to continue very, very quickly. What we have seen in history is that when when the Fed does start cutting rates, they typically cut rates pretty quickly. And something to consider, they typically cut rates pretty quickly because they cut rates going into a recession. Does the Fed know something we don't? Who knows? Who knows? What we do know is that the last 3 times that interest rates were cut, it was in correlation or was in the lead up about a year prior to a massive recession. We had a recession in 2001 having to do with September 11th and obviously the dot-com bubble and all of that. Interest rates were cut then to stimulate growth in the economy. Interest rates were cut starting in 2007, leading into the 2008 financial crisis. It's almost like they knew it was coming. Who knows? And then we also saw rate cuts beginning just a few months before the pandemic. It's very interesting. Rate cuts started right before 9/11. Rate cuts start right before 2008. Rate cuts started right before COVID. Almost seems like they knew something was coming. I don't know. Just saying. Nevertheless, what we're seeing now is that rate cuts are going to start being dropped. Of the last 3 times, they always started being dropped about 6 to 12 months before some black swan event that crashed the market. Interesting. Is something coming? I don't know. We'll see. Nevertheless, rate cuts are coming, and that is theoretically supposed to be bullish for the market. Whenever we've seen rate cuts come before, it's typically led to a market of very cheap money, which has led to short-term, and by short-term I mean on a 10-year time frame, lots of growth. In the long run, it actually kicks us in the pants because it increases the deficit and increases the debt, and we have to pay for it in the long run. But it leads to short to medium term, and by short to medium term on this time scale, I'm talking about like 5 to 10 year growth in the market. And so theoretically, a rate drop is actually pretty beneficial for the market, even though it normally correlates or actually is a leading indicator of black swan crisis. I hope you see that. Started cutting rates in November of 20. Started cutting rates here in August of 2007. Started cutting rates here in July of 2019. All of those were about 6 to 12 months before the 3 largest black swan events that we have seen in the last 25 years. Is something coming? I don't know. Again, I'd love to hear your opinions on that in the comment section. Does the Fed know something we don't? Maybe, probably not. I don't. Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that there's data there. There's a very clear pattern that has been correct 100% of the time for the last 3 times this happened in the last 25 years, that one of the 3 largest black swan events that we've seen in the 21st century in the United States occurred about 6 months after rate cuts started beginning. Conspiracy theory? Yes. Is it true? Who knows? That's up for you to debate. I just want to kind of put it out there for you. So here's what we need to know. We've got to kind of tie all this together into a narrative. There's a rate cut coming. Rate cuts always are bullish for Bitcoin. That is pretty much a non-negotiable. But basically, a rate cut is always going to lead to a rally on Bitcoin. And that is a big part of the reason why we're seeing a rally right now. And we'll do some more technicals here in just a second. But let's tie all this together. Dixie's going down. Stock market's going up. Rate cuts are coming. World Liberty Financial, we got another announcement about it, which is bullish. And people are like, oh my gosh, Trump's bullish on Bitcoin. He's launching a company. Great. So, and we see a kind of, at this point, somewhat of a confirmed uptrend. All of these facts are coming together to create a bullish narrative for Bitcoin that we have not had. We have not had a significantly bullish narrative on Bitcoin for some time. We've been really longing for it. And so far, over the last month or so, we've made a few calls on Bitcoin, and they, for the most part, have been pretty spot on. Here on Tuesday, August 27th of 2024, we made a call that Bitcoin would drop down to $54,000. Bitcoin then would go on to drop down to $54,000. We called it at the very beginning of the drop. It took about 2 weeks to drop down there, and that's what happened. On this rally, we were skeptical until this point, which was Wednesday, September the 11th, a little over a week ago, that Bitcoin was going into a rally. But around September the 11th, based on some news that had come out, the UK news and whatnot, we saw that there was a very strong likelihood that Bitcoin was going to rally up to this downtrend. And so on September 11th, we updated our call and we called for a rally to this downtrend. These have been our 2 major calls, September 11th, August 27th. August 27th, we called for 54,000. That happened. Here on September the 11th, we were at 57,000. We called for a rally to this downtrending level of resistance. Those have been our calls. And so they've come true so far. But what happens next? What happens next, most likely, is that Bitcoin is going to have to fight through this level of resistance. Is it going to? Yes. Yes. Most likely, Bitcoin is going to rally through this level. Even in just the last few minutes that we've been streaming here, it has been rallying dramatically. Check this out. This is an inverse head and shoulders pattern with no right shoulder. That is a very bullish version of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. There is no right shoulder. Bitcoin skipped that step. It very much looks like Bitcoin is going to be able to go into a major rally here because of all these factors. And when we do see the Fed rate cut tomorrow, There is a question about whether it'll be a buy the rumor, sell the news event or not, but I personally think it's going to be a buy the news event. And the reason for that is because we're most likely going to see a major rally on stocks out of it as we finally have confirmation that rate cuts are here. Not just, oh, they're coming, but no, it happened. One happened past tense, which gives us confidence that more are coming. That will incentivize every single chief financial officer, chief operating officer, and chief executive officer in the Fortune 500, every single one of them that is competent and knows anything about what they're doing at their job, to start updating their business plans for fiscal year of 2025. Because money just got cheaper. When the Federal Reserve's rate, the effective federal funds rate comes down, which means the cost of capital acquisition goes down. Companies love debt. They love leverage. They love it. They eat it up. And so they plan for how they're going to acquire money that they borrow. They also plan for how easy it will be for their customers to borrow money. Is borrowing money and raising your debt load a good idea in the long run? No. Has Wall Street realized this? Also, no. And so they like to borrow a lot of money. When the cost of capital goes down, then what we see is that it leads to a rally on the stock market almost every single time. Invariably. Almost every single time. In fact, the lowering of the effective federal funds rate is how the Fed stimulates the stock market. That is their number one tool to stimulate the growth of the stock market. So stocks will continue into a major rally over the next few days as a result of this. If they do crash for a couple of days, the next month is going to be very, 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 very green for Bitcoin. And so if you are looking to buy into stocks, now's a great time. If you're looking to buy into Bitcoin, now's a great time because it has never been more obvious that the next couple of weeks are going to be bullish on either one of these assets than it is right now. It is glaringly obvious. It is so obvious that a major rally is coming to stocks and therefore a major rally is coming to Bitcoin. But what do the technicals look like? From the technical analysis standpoint, Bitcoin right now is witnessing a lot of things fall into play. On the daily chart, we've got a major buy signal. We've almost got a prolonged green-red-green formation here. It's like normally a green-red-green is one green, one red, one green. In this case, it's more like we've got a green followed by a three black crows formation followed by another green that's kind of engulfing the three black crows. In one day, we're rallying more than we dropped in three. That is a very helpful piece of data for us to have about the strength of the market. On the daily chart, we also have a buy signal from Bitcoin. But again, remember, we go on data here. We don't just go on, oh my gosh, it's a buy signal. No, we go on data. We go on facts. We go on logic. We're not going on, oh, I feel. Now listen, there is a place for a gut feeling. Guys, I've been analyzing this market every day for the last 7 years. Sometimes I get a feeling about something, and that's worth listening to. But I can also show you in the data why I have that feeling. I can find evidence to explain. I can show you evidence to explain why I have that feeling based on my experience. Whenever we see a bullish MACD cross on Bitcoin, invariably over the course of this corrective movement, we've seen a major rally. The smallest rally we've seen has been 12%. We saw a buy signal, a bullish MACD cross on September the 11th. So far, we've rallied 5%. But the fundamentals and the overall the overall sentiment picture right now is extremely much more bullish than it has been. And that's shifted very quickly. In just the last week or so, the sentiment has dramatically changed. And so with these technicals, we're also seeing technical backing of the idea of a rally incoming. As far as the crypto Jebb oscillator, if you guys were not already familiar, we have our very own oscillator that we created in partnership with LUX ALGO. Sean Mack, founder of LUX ALGO, is a good friend of mine, has been for many years, and we made an indicator together called the crypto Jebb oscillator. It is phenomenal. I love this indicator. I eat it for breakfast. It's so beautiful. You can see the bullish momentum and the bullish velocity are accelerating right now, and you can see something that you would not have seen on any other indicator, but you see two bullish convergences that have played out over the course of the last 3 months, meaning that over the last few months, we've been building a case that Bitcoin is likely going to go into a big uptrend starting soon. And especially in just the last few days when we flipped bullish once again, that has given us another bullish divergence, which gives us a major amount of confidence that we're going to see a rally. And so even with RSI, we bounced off of the 50 level, which is phenomenal. We bounced off the 50 level, which gives us a lot of confidence that more bullishness is to come. Now, on the 3-daily chart, a buy signal is coming in on the 3-daily chart. Whereas before, we have seen basically no really strong confirmed bullish crosses on MACD, except for right here. We have seen, for the most part, that the 3 days very accurate. The last two really solid bullish MACD crosses that we saw on the 3-daily chart were here and here. So Bitcoin MACD on the 3-daily chart, very helpful, and we're seeing a cross right now that I think is going to be very helpful. On the crypto Jebb oscillator, you can also see on the 3-daily chart, we're flipping from bearish into bullish territory, which is very helpful. So we'll keep an eye on that. And even on the weekly chart, you can see that we're starting to reverse, and we may see soon a bullish cross on a weekly chart MACD as well. On a weekly chart RSI, you can see we fell down here, and we actually held this support architecture that we discussed here. On the RSI, right here, we said if it starts falling below 45, that's really kind of capitulation territory. We've got to be careful because we could go a lot lower. But instead, we've actually held around the 45 region. We're breaking above 50. Now we're back up above 50. We're at 50.86 or so. And we could be coming up here to test the 14 interval moving average. Do we have confirmation of a new major uptrend? No. Do things look better right now than they have probably at any point since the all-time high was set? Yes. And that is very encouraging. Let's also not forget to look at LUX Algo here, because LUX Algo gives us a lot of very helpful data. On the daily chart, we do not yet have a buy signal, but we are approaching the trend catcher. If we're able to break above the trend catcher, then we will likely see a buy signal coming very soon. If we do see a confirmed buy signal, that will be the first confirmed buy signal that Bitcoin has seen in many months, ever since May. It's September right now. And so if we do see that happening, that will be a great sign that Bitcoin is getting ready to move to the upside. So what does all of the data tell us? Again, we're doing a scientific historical analysis, fundamental analysis, sentimental analysis based storytelling here. And so the story so far is that Bitcoin has been needing a major correction ever since we hit the all-time high at $73,000. We saw an enormous rally from 25,236 all the way up to $73,000. Bitcoin obviously needed a corrective movement. It's got it. We've traded sideways for 6 months. It may not be over, but it very much looks like it's moving in that direction of concluding. And so with what's happening in the fundamentals right now, we are at a crossroads. Will Bitcoin continue into a massive correction, or is Bitcoin going to end up breaking above that downtrend that we discussed earlier and going into the major rally territory? I personally believe that the greater likelihood right now, this is not certain, but the greater likelihood right now is that Bitcoin is going to break that downtrend that we discussed. It's going to break the trend catcher. It's going to break the 14 interval moving average on weekly chart for RSI. It's going to break these things. And we're going to have some more confirmation of an uptrend coming very soon. And so that leaves us with one final question. What do we do with this? Because I want you to have application as well. Remember, we're going to look at the facts. We're going to look at the data. Then we're going to try and figure out where Bitcoin is and where Bitcoin's going. And then from there, we're going to figure out what we should do about it. That is our basic course of action here on the stream. This is what you're subscribing for. This is what you're watching the stream for. So stay tuned, because that's what we do every day here. What should we do about this? Well, right now, if you have cash, now's a good time, in my opinion. In fact, I think it's a very good time to deploy some of your cash position. The reason being is because I don't believe that this rally is going to conclude anytime soon. And I don't just mean deploy cash into crypto. If you have stocks, now's not a bad time to deploy cash into the stock market either. Stocks are looking to perform very well over the course of just the next few days. I mean, we're talking about the next few hours potentially here. On Bitcoin, even as we speak, looks to be working to break this level of resistance at 60,500. And to be honest with you, I would imagine that if we get much above that, some shorts are going to get absolutely annihilated, and the order books are going to be exceedingly thin. So the market's going to be able to run, and the bulls are going to be able to rampage. So I see, personally, in the short-term future, not a certainty, but a great degree, a great probability of just an enormous rally, of just Bitcoin just blasting through here and setting like $1,000 candlestick. We've already started doing it. I mean, we're in the middle of it, right? I mean, very soon. You can see how we're jumping around here. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Look at how we're jumping around here. We go down to the 1 second chart, right? You can see the 1 second chart. Notice how much we're jumping around. Look at that. There it goes, right there. What have we just been talking about? You see how fast we're bouncing around? We're bouncing around $100 in no time at all. That means the order books are very thin. Again, I've been analyzing the market for 7 years, guys. I've seen this before. When the order books are this thin and we're bouncing around that much that quickly, generally that means you're about to see a major breakout. And so what do we see happen here? About 2 to 3 minutes ago, I told you that we're probably going to break $60,500. We're probably going to start working on breaking that downtrend. And then from there, Bitcoin is going to probably set like a $1,000 candlestick, like a major candlestick in motion. That is exactly what we're doing as we speak. Ever since about 10 a.m. this morning, right when we went live, Bitcoin rallied $1,500. We have continued to rally here up to 60,800, and I think we're about to see a major green candlestick, which is why about 3 to 4 minutes ago I told you now's probably a good time to deploy cash, whether you're a trader or whether you're an investor. And so I think now's still a good time to deploy cash because I think we're going to continue higher. We're at $60,800 as of this very moment. Coming down to the 1 second chart, we've got a new local high set at $60,846. Time to go into horse commentator mode, guys. You guys tell me I was an auctioneer. This is what we're born for. Can we get a new high? I think we can. Going once, going twice. Sold to $60,861. New high set for Bitcoin. Always a fun time here watching the rallies live. Now, I don't want to look away from the chart to check, but I can almost guarantee you that an enormous amount of shorts just got absolutely annihilated. An enormous amount of shorts just got absolutely wrecked. And the reason is because these resistance levels that we've discussed here are obvious. Anybody who is trading will have seen them. Anybody who's trading with any salt will have seen them. And so when we're breaking above $60,500, there's probably stop losses and there's probably liquidation points right above that level. When we're breaking above this downtrending level of resistance, which sits here currently at $60,700, it looks flat on this time scale. But if you zoom out, of course, you can see that it's actually a downtrend right here, right? That level is a level that basically everybody sees. And so what we're witnessing right now is a major shift. The bears are getting annihilated. The bulls are making money. And so the tables are being turned. Even as we speak, just in the last few minutes, we are seeing the bulls take over, the bears capitulating, and one of the largest green candlesticks that we have seen on the hourly chart be put into play that we've seen in a very long time. We just saw an hourly chart candlestick that was $1,300 tall. We're now seeing an hourly chart candlestick that is $800 tall, $400, $500 tall, and the hour is only 6 minutes old. If we look on the daily chart, we can see that we have now set a higher high as of just the last few minutes, which this is what we said was going to happen like 10 minutes ago. As of about 10 minutes ago, we said we're probably going to break above this level, which is at $60,664. As of right now, that's what we've done. So again, where do we go from here? What's the narrative and what do we do? The narrative is, well, we talked about that for the duration of the stream. After things wrap out, you can go back and watch it. But look at this. Do you see this? We're seeing the market jumping around by like $20 intervals. There's no liquidity. There's nothing. The order books are completely annihilated. We've been ranging down here below $60,500 for so long that all the sell orders were put below $60,500. There's nothing up here. There's no market structure up here. We're in blue sky. This is what's known as blue sky breakout. Blue sky because there's no ceilings. That's what it means. You break through the ceiling and you've got nothing but blue sky. There's no resistance above us. There's no built resistance, so you're always going to see a major green candlestick coming in. The enthusiasm comes in. You continue to see the rallies. And so what we're seeing right now is $61,000 has been hit as a new local high. $61,014 set as a new local high. Let's see if we can call some tops live. This is always fun to watch. Love it when this happens. The bears are not having a good time right now. Ever since September the 11th, we've been predicting that Bitcoin would rally up to this downtrending level of resistance and break it. It's fun to see that it is happening live. I love when the market does a movement right before our eyes. It is so much fun. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. Let's read a little bit of chat while we watch the market here. We'll go a little bit longer, of course, because it is a very important day. We got a lot of conflict in chat. Guys, are we Republican or Democrat first, or do we love each other first? You know, that's the problem that we have in the country. That's the problem that we have, is that we can disagree. We don't have to hate each other. That's the issue. Are we not all one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all? Have we lost our way? Have we forgotten about that? Have we really become so incapable of listening to each other that we can't build bridges and love on each other? People say I endorse Trump. I've never once said that I endorse Trump. I've never once said that I endorse Trump. Here's the thing. I agree with a lot of his policies. I think he's got a much better view on economics and social issues than Kamala does. Does that mean that I think that he's the Messiah? No, I definitely don't. I can agree with some of his policies, but that doesn't mean that I agree with everything that he does. Do I understand that he doesn't like Taylor Swift? Yes. Do I believe it was right for him to put on Truth Social that he hates Taylor Swift? No. I think the hatred is part of the issue going on in the nation. I don't agree with everything Trump says. I don't agree with everything Trump does. I obviously do line up much more with him on a lot of political issues. You guys know that. That's no secret. But at the end of the day, Trump's not going to save you. This election is not the most important election in your life. The election that will be the most important in your life is whether you elect to do what Dan Gambarillo did just yesterday and get baptized and give your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. Shout out to Crypto Capital Venture over there. Dan, good friend of mine for many years now. Just got baptized. I think he was already following the Lord. I think he may have done it again just as kind of a public display. But are we going to love each other? Truly love each other. Love is sacrificial. Are we going to do that? It's not about what we do with our hands. It's about the nails that went in Christ's. We've got to remember that. Let's see if Bitcoin will go through another rally. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. If this is your first time here, my name is Jebb McAfee. I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for the better part of a decade now, and it's my dream to help you make money and succeed and achieve something that I call financial sovereignty in the cryptocurrency space, and you can do that. You can. It's very, very, very possible, and I'm going to help show you. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, tune in every single day here at 10 a.m. Eastern on Coffee and Crypto, and we will together build wealth and build a better life for ourselves and for our families and for our communities here in the cryptocurrency space. Looks like Bitcoin's going to trade sideways here for a little while, so we'll go ahead and continue reading chat here before we wrap it out. As I said, really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Very, very, very exciting times. Very exciting times. I love it when people hate. Oh, here we go. 60,946, 60,964. Big rally coming out of nowhere. Nice. This is what I'm talking about, guys. That was a whale buying. That's what that was. That was an order being filled from somebody. That was somebody getting an order filled. Pro balanced budget. Me too. Absolutely. 60,970 new local high over the last couple of minutes. Big deal there. 60,982 is a new local high. 60,988 new local high, about 61,000. 60,999, 61,000 hit. This is why we've been watching this, because I thought we were going to backtest it. Here we go. Coming back up, building a cup and handle formation. You can see the cup right here. See the handle. And let's see if we can see the rally. We got our cup building. See how deep the handle is. We're on the second chart down here because we have the pro version of TradingView. Let's watch. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a swing up. We see a swing up here. That's where we start saying, yeah, we're about to see a big rally. All right. You can't vote Trump and talk about peace and Christianity in the same sentence. That's absurd. People are saying that, here's the deal. Here's the thing that people forget. Jesus was deeply political. That being said, that was never his point. Of course he talked about the Roman Empire. Was that ever his point? No. His point, well, and here we go. Let's get back on topic here for a second. We've got a, whoa, look at that. Goodness gracious, $61,000, 61,600. Look at that, just absolute annihilation of the order books. Guys, something big is about to happen in the next 60 seconds, I think. Golly, look at these moves. The liquidity is completely annihilated. It doesn't exist anymore. 61,049 coming in. The order books are decimated. There's nothing going on here. We've got nothing as far as market structure. Nothing as far as market structure is concerned. 60,999. What I was going to say is that Christ was far more concerned, not about the quality of the politician, but about the quality of the heart of the person that was listening to his voice. And that needs to be our concern. It's not so much about the quality of our politicians, but about the quality of ourselves. I want to see, look at that, massive dump coming in. Just no liquidity at all. This is Coinbase, by the way. This is every market's doing this. We're seeing a ton of liquidity shocks. What we need to remember is that it is not about the quality of our politicians, it's about the quality of us. The reason that our politicians get away with such crap is because we let them. If we were more quality people and we actually did what Jesus said, which was getting the log out of our own eye, the politicians wouldn't be able to get away with it because enough of us wouldn't tolerate it. But unfortunately, enough of us tolerate the same kind of sin and mess in our life that the politicians are doing, and then we turn our nose up at them and say, look at you, look at what you're doing. You're in a higher office than I should be, so I'm going to hold you to a higher standard. Nonsense. Whoa, look at that, 61,072. Big rallies coming in. We hold them to a higher standard than we hold ourselves, and that's backwards. We should hold ourselves to a higher standard than we hold anybody else. That's how you change a culture. Should we vote? Yes. Should we focus on ourselves first? Also, yes. 61,092 coming in as a new high. 61,108 coming in as a new high. Now we're starting to really move to the upside here. Very exciting times. Very, very low liquidity, indicating that the market is primed and ready to go into a massive, massive breakout. Let's watch this for a few more minutes here. This is very exciting. We've got somebody in chat saying, you are not God to judge someone else's sin. That's funny, coming from somebody that's been judging me the entire stream. The Bible doesn't say don't judge. It says don't be a hypocrite. That sounds a little hypocritical there, my friend. Let's keep watching. Buy signal came in, Jebb. Yeah, let's look out at the daily chart here for a second. Let's see if that LUX Algo buy signal has come in. On the daily chart, not yet. Big movements coming in, but not yet on the buy signal. On the hourly chart, buy signal has come in and has been confirmed, which is extremely exciting. The last time we saw a confirmed buy signal was back on September the 11th, and we ended up going into a major rally from there. We're currently looking at 61,129, new local high being set, 61,200 coming in fast. Bitcoin is just bouncing around so much. It's not like it's just going up and gradually. It's just exploding out of nowhere. The shorts are getting annihilated. God, I wish I could switch the chart just for 20 seconds to bring the shorts up. 61,262 coming in as a new local high. 61,257 is a second high. Our new baseline is rising. This is what we also need to keep in mind. Watch the baseline here. Don't just watch the highs, watch the lows. See what's happening here. We're building a parabolic nature in the market. Bitcoin is going through a massive breakout at the moment. Ethereum too. Ethereum is going through a major breakout as well. At 10 a.m. it was at 6,300, 2,300. Now it's at 2,378. It's rallied a few percentage points since the top of the hour, the top of the last hour when we were here together. Hey, Jebb, good to see you're a preacher now. 61,259 coming in, 61,258.47 coming in hot. See what happens. I think we're going to have probably a bit of a back test here. Just a little bit of a corrective movement. Whoa, 61,300. Look at that low liquidity rally going on here. 61,290, excuse me. Major breakouts happening right now. We are changing what the next weeks and months are going to look like. We're changing what the next weeks and months are going to look like right now. This is not just about the next 10 minutes. The reason that we're tracking this so closely, the reason I'm going so far over time here, is because this is a movement on the market that is going to have lasting implications. And it is most likely the lead up to the effective federal funds rate decision tomorrow. If we end up rallying to $65,000 or something, it very well may be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. A lot of people right now are buying, not just because of the news from Trump, but also probably even more so from the effective federal funds rate drop that's going to be coming in tomorrow. We're going to see a massive rally in correlation to that. Whether we see it now, before the news, after the news, who knows? Frankly, who cares? If you are an investor in cryptocurrency, it just hit 61,334. If you're an investor in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, then you are very happy right now because your portfolio is growing. Your portfolio is growing. So again, what should we do here as we watch and commentate on this market live? What we ought to be doing is our two steps. After we've gotten our money right, that means we're out of consumer debt. We have a budget. We live on less than we make. After we're doing those things, we made a decision to, and we've saved up an emergency fund. This is the financial sovereignty way. After we do that, there are two steps that I want you to follow to make money in cryptocurrency. Do I want you to become a trader? No. You can. You can. But I'm talking to every single person here. Not every one of you will become a trader. In fact, most of you will not become traders. And those of you that do become traders, most of you will fail because trading is extremely difficult to make money in. You can do it, and I don't want to crush your dreams. You're just going to have to work very hard for it. It's a little bit like saying, I want to go to the Olympics, or I want to play in the NBA, or I want to play in the NFL. You can do it. And by all means, if that's your dream, go for it. Try. But it's going to be hard. What everybody can do Everybody can be an investor. So what I want you to do, the first thing is you need a dollar cost average. We've got to watch our money grow over time. When you dollar cost average, you do it this way. Every interval, I, if I'm single, or we, if we're married, will invest X amount into Y on Z platform. So every Tuesday at 2 p.m., every Friday at 5 p.m., we will invest $100 into Bitcoin on Coinbase. We will invest $500 into Bitcoin, $250 into Ethereum on crypto.com, whatever it may be. That's your first step. First step when you get into crypto, that's the very first thing you do. After you have a basic fundamental understanding of cryptocurrency and you decide whether or not you believe in the space, then you do that. After that, second thing you do is you have another quote-unquote dollar cost. Oh, we got a new rally going in here. A lot of low liquidity. Next thing you do is you start to set a cash account. And this is something that you're going to put maybe 20% of the money that you would put into the DCAing into, but you put this into a cash account every week. So every interval, I, if I'm single, or we, if we're married, will deposit X amount of currency into Y savings account on Z platform, right? And so every Tuesday at 2 p.m. or every paycheck, this is a big one for you guys, every paycheck I will put $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $250, whatever. It's like the Price is Right or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? Put a little bit of money into this cash account. And then when the market dumps, then you deploy it. Or when the market gives a massive buy signal, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't think we're going to see another low like this anytime soon, then that's where you start to deploy. If you're dollar cost averaging, set that up immediately. If you have a cash account, not your emergency fund, but a cash account for your investment, this is basically what you would have in your like money market account in a stock account. Now's a great time to deploy some of that too. Maybe 10 to 20% of the cash account. This is cash that you're going to put into the market and you're going to hold this for 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years, not 5 to 7 minutes, not 5 to 7 weeks, not 5 to 7 months, 5 to 7 years. Now's a great time to deploy some cash into Bitcoin because we are leaving behind those lows. Are we going to see them again? Don't know. Now's like a 70 out of 100 good time to deploy cash. The best time to deploy cash would have probably been a couple weeks ago when we started to have some buy confirmation signals like we were not going to go lower. Now it's still a pretty solid time. It's not a great time. Kelly Blue Book, it's a good value, not a great value. It's a good value. Good value. New high, 61,335 set, 61,337 set, 61,355 set, 61,371 set as a new local high. Bitcoin is rallying as we speak. Very exciting. And so that cash account is very important because that's where you're going to dump money in to increase the purchasing during good times. You have the baseline dollar cost averaging. That becomes a habit that you just keep doing forever. And then you make sure that you have that cash account and you deploy money when you see a strategic opportunity. After you do that, you can go in a bunch of different directions. You can go through the staking route. You can go through the liquidity pool route. You can go through the NFT route. You can go through the trading route. There's a lot of other ways to make money in crypto. This is just the basics, but you start there. And then from there, make sure you're staking it. Make sure you're holding your money in a good interest platform. And so that kind of leads us into one of our sponsors, which is Uphold. If you guys did not already know, Uphold is one of the best cryptocurrency exchanges in the entire game. And the reason that we love Uphold so much is because they're not just an exchange. They've got a lot more going for them than just being an exchange. Uphold is not even really an exchange. They're trying to build almost like a bank in cryptocurrency, but not a bank in the traditional sense where they have fractional reserve lending and all of that nonsense, but a bank in the sense that you can kind of build the foundation of your life in Uphold. Uphold does have an exchange, and it is a very powerful exchange, and it is built on top of a bunch of other exchanges, both centralized and decentralized exchanges, which means that you get new tokens early. When a new token launches, they can pull it from these other platforms that they are built on top of, so you get access to it very early. In fact, Uphold is one of the only large exchanges in the entire game that has Caspa listed. So if you want Caspa, Uphold's the place to go. Check the link in the description box down below. On top of that, they were a leader in transparency when FTX collapsed, and they publish all of their assets in real time. $2.617 billion in reserve. Their obligations are $2.596 billion. They've got $46 million of transaction volume. You got all the transactions here. Their reserve status is 100.8%. Again, when I say they're trying to build a kind of a cryptocurrency bank, it's not that they're building so much a bank. It's that what I mean by bank is not fractional reserve lending, but bank in the sense where you can create your home here in cryptocurrency. They're working on payments, so you can do all of your bill payments through Uphold, which is seamlessly integrated with your cryptocurrency portfolio. On top of that, they also have Uphold's Vault, which you guys will see very, very soon. We've got a really cool video about that coming out. And also, they've got a new feature, which I am in love with, called USD Interest. USD Interest is a yield-bearing account that you can you generate 5% yield from this account. It's basically kind of like a high-yield savings account, but you're not getting this kind of rate anywhere else in the cryptocurrency space. You'd have to go outside of the cryptocurrency space into another bank. And so what that means is if you want to hold your cash account that we just talked about in a yield-bearing account, in a cash account with an FDIC insurance, you have to do that outside of cryptocurrency, which means which means banking transfers, which means fees, which means delay, which means you miss an opportunity to deploy your cash if you want it under FDIC protection and under high-yield savings account interest rates. Uphold is the first in the entire cryptocurrency space to create that inside of their service. And what they do is that they split this up into 10 different banks, all of which have $250,000 FDIC insurance, which means you actually have $2.5 million of FDIC insurance on this cash account. So for those big traders of you, you can get $2.5 million of FDIC coverage on this account and still get 5%. Unheard of. You have to do that manually if you want to do that any other way by opening 10 accounts yourself. Now, Uphold handles that for you. And this is where you can hold your cash to deploy it like that, but it's in dollars and is generating yield. And because it's in dollars, not stable coins, it is under FDIC insurance. One of the best features that they have created in a long time. Make sure to sign up for Uphold with the link in the description box down below. Let's read a little bit of chat, guys. Very excited to have you all here today. Okay. Let's watch chat here. So much conversation about the election, about politics going on in chat. Do I agree with everything Trump does? No. I just told you I don't like the way that he talks sometimes. I don't think it was very Christ-like of him to say that he hates Taylor Swift, right? I don't agree with that. Do I agree with everything that comes out of his mouth? No. Do I agree with a lot of his policies? Yes. Do I agree with him wanting to, put America first? Yes. Do I agree with him, wanting to grow cryptocurrency and make it a big part of the United States economy? Yes. These are things that I do agree with. Do I agree with everything? No. Do I agree with more with him than I do with Kamala? Yes. Do I endorse him? Not really, not necessarily. I endorse Christ. My endorsement stands for Christ. I want you to follow him because he's perfect. But I will definitely tell you this. I prefer Trump over Kamala. But I love you. You can follow whoever you want. I'm still going to love you. Still going to love you. That's what we need. We need love. We need love. We need Christ-like love. Love is just. Love is kind. Love is patient. Love is pure. These are things that we need. Really appreciate you guys being here. If you've not already, make sure to also sign up for NordVPN. NordVPN is one of the sponsors of our channel. And you know what's funny? We are one of the only cryptocurrency YouTubers that actually has NordVPN as a sponsor. Now, you've heard of a lot of people talking about NordVPN. They've got an affiliate link for NordVPN that they set up on their own. No, we have an actual relationship with Nord, and they love us. And the reason they love us is because you guys love them. The reason they love us is because you guys love NordVPN. And the reason for that is because NordVPN is basically, it's like fundamental architecture that you need to keep yourself safe. The internet is very exposed. You're basically walking down the bad part of town butt naked with a gold chain around your neck. You're going to get robbed. People are going to hack and steal from you. You just saw earlier how they're trying to hack CoinMarketCap. You saw that, right? NordVPN helps to eliminate that kind of thing. If you sign up for NordVPN, they're going to reroute your search traffic through their own servers, keeping you invisible, keeping you secure, and keeping you safe. So if you've not already, make sure to sign up for NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. And also, make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and repost this on X. We're trying to grow our X account, so if you've not already, make sure to go over here and follow me on X. And speaking of X, I don't know why somebody has not written a song about how all of Elon Musk's exes now live in Texas. Because if you didn't know, last week Elon Musk shut down the X headquarters in San Francisco, bringing an end to the legacy Twitter era, and he's now moving it to Texas. All of Elon's exes do indeed live in Texas now. SpaceX, X, come on, somebody. I can sing a little. I can't write music though. Come on, somebody's got to get on that, right? Come on. Chop chop. We need that. That'd be hilarious. I want royalties. You can write the song, that's fine. You can sing it, that's fine. But when you do, just a little footnote at the bottom, say, this was Jebb's idea. That's all you gotta do. Just say, Jebb came up with this idea. All of Elon's exes live in Texas. Just give me credit. It's okay. Hope you've enjoyed today's stream. Make sure to go and follow us over here on X. We got a lot of stuff going on. We are still very much in the thick of the baby stage. Our baby is waking up a lot more now. So I'm very tired. I'm extremely sleepy. As we continue to settle into a new routine, you're going to see a lot of growth coming from the channel. I'm very excited about where the channel is going. Very excited about the mission that we're on here. Stay tuned. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. We are going to wrap it out. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.